Aeroflow Performance has 4 new ways to make sure that your Barra is boosted by Aeroflow. All right, guys, so if you haven't been living under a rock, you're probably aware of the performance potential of the Ford Australia Barra motor. The inline 6-cylinder, it's a 4-litre. It's, the bottom end has been around forever. The inline 6-cylinder from Ford is well known. And then late 2002, they decided to strap a twin cam head on it and a turbo on the side, and all of a sudden a new cult car was born. So for all of those that didn't jump onto the train initially with an XR6 turbo or an FPV or something like that, the great benefit is that the Barra motor was in just about every Falcon. So if it was a taxi or if it was just a regular family sedan or something like that, there's still plenty of those cruising around. So you can grab one of those, and then if you want to give it some more performance, you can strap a turbo on the side of it, and all of a sudden you've got easy horsepower. It's a great new thing that we've got these turbos. So when it comes to the manifolds, we've got 3 high-rise manifolds, and then we've got 1 factory style, later FG style cast manifold. We'll touch on that one quickly. This is due out sort of mid-year 2023. This is basically a replica of the factory FG, the later Barra turbo manifold. So that's just going to bolt on. If you've got an NA Barra, you want to put a turbo on it, an internally gated, standard style or factory replacement XR6 turbo turbocharger, that's the guy for you. So it's it's cast iron. It'll bolt straight on. It's got provisions for all factory heat shielding if you want to run that sort of gear. If you need to replace an original one, if you do have a turbo motor and perhaps there's cracking or damage on the manifold, you can take that one off, put this one on, everything will bolt straight back on. So really cost-effective way to get some boost into your Barra with that little cast manifold. So we've covered the cast factory replacement, but when we're talking high performance, we're talking 700-800 horsepower and up. That's when we go to the fabricated high mount manifolds. Now there's 3 different versions of those. They're all very similar construction. So it's 3mm thick wall, carbon steel or steam pipe, as a lot of people would know. They've got the 10mm thick flange, the head flange, so that's nice and stable. It's going to resist quite a lot of heat and temperature, so it's not going to twist or torque out of the way. And then we have either a T4 or 2 different V-band sizes. Now, when it comes to the collector, the T4 one is a cast stainless steel merge collector, so it's 1 piece, which gives you plenty of consistency. Initially, the V-band collectors are a fabricated piece, but we will be moving to a 1-piece stainless design later once we get a bit of movement on these products. So, as I mentioned, T4. Then we've got 2 V-band entry units. So one is a GT35 style V-band, so for that mid-frame turbocharger, which will suit anything. In our range, anything from a 48-49 V-band all the way through to a 68-62 1050. So basically horsepower ranges from 500 horsepower through to 1,000 potential with those turbos. Then we've got the larger V-band, which is a GT40 or GT42 style V-band. That is a medium to large frame V-band on there. That's going to run with basically everything from 70-75, or actually a 62-70, so the G40 style V-bands, all the way through to G45, which we're talking 76-82. So again, we're talking from around 800 horsepower through to 1500 in power potential when we come to that flange. So 2 options depending on what you want, something a little bit more responsive, not a wild amount of horsepower, but much better flowing than your cast style, or something that's all out horsepower that you're heading up towards that 1200 wheel horsepower on a Barra is fairly intense. If you're going for something that's even more horsepower than that, then we've still got just the head flanges by itself, so the cast head flanges, or sorry, the steel milled head flanges. So you can actually fabricate your own manifold from there. So if you want to do a Pro Mod style thing, or whatever it is that you need to design, if you've got an engine swap and these guys aren't going to fit in because they were designed for a Falcon, for example, you can create your own from there. So plenty of different options when it comes to the manifolds. You've got your option for factory, T4 style, T4 being mid-frame, then mid-frame V-band, so GT30, GT35 style, or G35 style even, and then the larger V-band, which is your G40, G42, G45, or GTX 42 in that range. So plenty of different options. All right, as you can see, these high mount manifolds, they have a nice black coating on them. Now that coating is just an enamel paint. It's basically to ensure that in shipping and storage, because we've got a lot of distributors around the country, people are going to be stocking these on the shelf. We want to make sure that we weren't going to incur any sort of surface rust or damage from that point of view, being that they are steel. Any sort of moisture could make the surface look not very nice. So we've gone ahead and coated those with an enamel paint. It is not a ceramic coating. It's not something, if you're going to bolt this onto your motor and make 1,000 horsepower, that paint won't last. You just need to know that. So if you get it, just factor in getting it ceramic coated or wrapped or whatever it is you need to do. That's going to prolong the life of the manifold. It's going to make it look better in your engine bay. So appearance is important for a lot of people. And there is a mild performance advantage when it comes to ceramic coating as well, with exhaust gas speed and things like that. We won't get into that today. One last thing to touch on is the wastegate port that's on the side of the manifold here for your external wastegate. That's actually a 60mm tube on the side there, and that means that you can basically run anything from a 44 or 45mm wastegate through to a 50 or 60mm wastegate off the side of that. So we don't put a flange on there because depending on what your power goals are, your boost levels, what sort of wastegate you want to use, you can just add that on to suit your application. All right guys, now you know all about the Barra turbo manifolds that are available from Aeroflow Performance. You can check them out at your local distributor, a quality retail outlet, or jump online at aeroflowperformance.com.